Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Johnnie Hughes bisa say education minister ne ma ewo he. Minister for sanitation and also ne ma ewo he and afin so ne health minister ne ma wo he na ehifa na omonko school. Johnnie Hughes reacted to video bia abetodwa ya food vendor be raise concern on the quality of food that serve enkora ewo school mu ya wo kire say ebetimi akoso food poison and say ebetimi anya ensusaso bone ewo enkola no so eno na Johnnie Hughes kire say oba Ghana hana and say oba Africa the policies ego paper so name himself grounds that the policies are not well implemented. In some way, ne and some ahodo bi na Johnnie Hughes edia tuja efa concern na food vendor raise efa the quality of food that serve yankora. Me pesa obeka me hono yakotie ensem na entremu. Ansa na beka no subscribe to channel na click notification bell no so. Like Jumadi no na share ma afofron so ensa enkabi. And don't forget say we dey wadwenche ebeba comment section ho. PENDREAM TV wo another platform my friend of PENDREAM FM. Hono yaji wadwenche efa ensama ekoso ewo my Ghana. Send a voice note efa number ya eda o screen so no through WhatsApp ebe publish ama amansan atewunka. Na number ni 0277128777. Yentie reaction na Johnnie Hughes edia tuja.
Let's begin with our children this morning. And yesterday, a woman who is supposed to be a vendor in a school, obviously in Greater Accra region, because she spoke in Ghana, I'll translate for you quickly. But then she was worried about the quality of food that was being served to the children. She was also concerned about food poisoning. And she said that the quality of food, if you watch on 3FM927 on Facebook or on Twitter, or if you watch on TV3 at this point, you would see what I'm talking about. The quality of the food is so bad. Listen to her.
Honorable Jenny me complain, she me problem, Jimmy Peggy can't see Madame Yabi. Make a be ne na me ye futu. We say Kokamuko na food poison low elakomo kwe. Okay, clean about more school name Jimmy. Eja ke me penny oni ebiene. Mink pabo fai la kenye be power mo chufa na ke o ye ko no banyo kecho. Na kwani eni na ke ba mink pabo fai wa denche. Oh, you are done. Thank you.
So what the woman said, and keep the video on. What the woman said in Ghana literally is that she's calling out to the honorable member of parliament of the area. I don't know what constituency it was or it is. But she says that she's the only food vendor in the school. And the food you see on the screens now is what was brought in by the school feeding caterers. Obviously, if you pay people 97 pesos to feed children, this is the rubbish that they will feed your children. But their children are not in the schools that these children eat this rubbish at. Now, she says she's the only food vendor there, and that the children eat this and then add her food. So she is worried about food poisoning and some outbreak that could happen. So she's not complaining. She's just raising the alarm and creating awareness that this is not good. Can somebody tell me where the children of the education minister are and where they school? What about the children of the national security minister? What about the children of the gender minister? What about the children of the minister for health? You see, they put our children in the public schools. They pretend to care. They put pen to paper and they create policies. And then they feed them this as food. Same thing if you go to our prisons. This is what, in fact, this is even of better quality than what is fed to people in prisons. A full-grown man being fed once with 1 cedi 80 pesos. Now look at, children have gone to school. You say that the school feeding program, and I always say, when Dr. Amaku Tufo and the rest envisaged school feeding program under the Venerable Kufuor, was this what they thought? This was not what they thought, obviously. Your children go to school, and we are told that the school feeding program is supposed to attract more children to school, right? To increase the numbers. We have not finished talking about textbooks. We have not finished talking about the unavailability of desks. We have not finished talking about schools under trees. We have not finished talking about the capitation grant and other things that are supposed to go to the schools to make heads comfortable, to be able to deliver excellently on the job. And now this is the food we are feeding the children. And this is becoming one too many because I have shown you too many examples. Some not in Accra, but this is in Accra, Ghana's capital, the first port of call if we have any tourists in this country. And I'm sure by now somebody would have worn a nice suit and would have gone to meet some partners, development partners, and told them that, development partners, and told them that, this is we are providing school feeding for our children. We are giving them food. We are giving them food. People of New Jerusalem, this is the food that is being given to them. People of New Jerusalem, this is the food that is given to your children. Let it sink in.
Johnnie Hughes, I reacted to budget ya passing last week. What just says when you me obel to ma me obel to if it's a taxes na yempese ebeba and I said taxes na usuru se ebeba no ya pass and entino opeo se no ubitia. Eno ena otwa nsem so no oche say enche MPs and I say members of parliament ombeba constituent ho and I say ombeba for primaries abech assign abepe to me afri omoman for ho ena na oche say omoba bisa say yede to me e chairmansa ena afin so de ka say munko na munkope empuntuo munko na munkopre enkoso ne yedie embre ye manfo na akosi sen mutimi ye anase montimi anye Johnnie Hughes say obisa ensemwe na se wanya ano ye bia to aba tia homo a watch say show them pepper and show them ginger also much emphasis on MPs omo call it second Ofori Atta and afin so no Charles Edubwahin omo free adeso anase na adodankwa akufuado etu omo free adeso if is the bema beye bi wa meye ni nyina na bebia omo say oman na edru no omumpe obifofro mane emmeto aso yentie sene Johnnie Hughes reacted to a budget ya passe ye no.
Now yesterday the budget was passed and it means that the taxes are coming. The things that you feared are coming. 2 of your minority members were not there. Who were those people and why were they not there? 2 of your minority members were not there. Who were those people and why were they not there? Have you thought about it? I said, watch your MPs closely. They will come to you again for primaries. When they come, ask them for their scorecard. If they fail to deliver their scorecard, sack them. They are not worth it. Sack them. They are not worth it. They are not worth representing you in parliament. Especially those who gathered to say that we will not listen to the reading of the budget, we will not debate the budget, we will not approve the budget because we want to see Ken Ofori Atta and Charles Edubwahin gone. They are still in parliament. They are doing party work, not your constituency work. But they will come to you again for primaries. That's where you have to show them ginger and show them pepper. Because the Ghanaian electorate is becoming wiser and smarter by the day. And we cannot continue to make things look like business as usual. We must wake up and smell the coffee. Now, take me to the list of the things that we're going to restrict or, if you like, ban, whatever term you want to use for it. I've heard government officials say that, we have pulled the brakes because we want to consult. Lie. You have pulled the brakes because you are on an IMF program, and what the IMF program, if you read the document, and maybe Monday we'll read the document together. If you read the document, it is stated categorically in there that once you're looking for balance of payment support, you cannot be doing some of these things. Because these things that are imported from the countries where you shamefully go and borrow from. We are a proud nation. We will not go to IMF. We are Nehemiah and Jeremiah. We are Sambalat and Tobias. When we raise the questions. Today, the joke is on you. Now, we are being told, after failing to transform Ghana in 18 months, we are being told that, we will become New Jerusalem because we will build the National Cathedral. Look at the food your children are eating. You are interested in building National Cathedral. There's something wrong somewhere. Rice, guts, bladders, stomachs of animals, poultry, animal and vegetable oil, margarine, fruit juices, soft drink, mineral water, noodles and pasta, ceramic tiles, corrugated paper and paper board, mosquito coil and insecticide, soaps and detergents, motor cars, iron and steel, cement, polymers, plastic products, fish, sugar, clothing and apparel, biscuits, canned tomatoes. We're going to have a certain restriction on this one. And you know what? We're going to set up a committee so that you go and meet the committee. So that if Oliver goes there and they like him, fine boy, they will say, Oliver, take the permit, go and import. If Johnnie Hughes goes there and say, you know, import. Was it going to be used as an avenue to extort money from people? I don't know. Was it going to be used to punish certain persons who import into this country and who have certain leanings? I said, I told you about the banks. I don't know. But the government has pulled the brakes because we are on an IMF program. You cannot be on here stubborn proud. And that was what we were going to do.
Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, a renowned politician, both local and international. The records no obia intimate break here and obia intimate and match ne records. Now, Johnnie Hughes pulled out report to be a daily graphic and a post years back in the 1960s. Emrana Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, president of the Republic of Ghana. Yeah, according to the report, na Ghana assembled certain products eton Emma neighboring countries. Eno ena Johnnie Hughes ebisa say adin tina Ghana and as a president ahodo oma bayi nyina. Omantimi a maintaining the assembling and exportation of these products. Name Ghana abeye the net importer of other products. Yeah, ena yepesa yade restrictions eto importations of products and so. Na say ena Johnnie Hughes ekanese.
There's an interesting thing. Take me back to the Daily Graphic, the 60s. In the 60s, according to the Daily Graphic, and this is a report of Ghana's oldest newspaper, credit to the Daily Graphic, Graphic Communications Group Limited. In the 60s, from the archives of the Daily Graphic, January 25, 1963, many countries buy boats from Ghana. More than 300 boats, which were actively plying the seas and rivers in many parts of the world, were made in Ghana by the Ghana Boat Yards Corporation. Keep it on. We, many years ago, in 1963, 73, 83, 93, 2003, 2013, 2023, 60 years on, we are now restricting imports when we were exporting. We were assembling TV, here. We were assembling buses here. The people from the world were buying from us. They say, I am Mobo Dodo. We were doing this in the 60s. During Kwame Nkrumah's era. Osajifo, and so I always ask the question, who compares to Osajifo? Who else can we compare? After Osajifo, who next? And that's why it's painful to see the CPP doing the kind of embarrassing things that they are doing these days. When you come to persons on the front line for the CPP, it is Nana Yasapon Kuma, it is Mr. Kwame Jantua or Lawyer Kwame Jantua, Nana Ya Jantua, finish. Who else? Who else? And then en bloc, you sack them. I'm told that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah wrote his resignation letter on the back of Mr. Jantua's father. Nana Ya Jantua's father. He had to bend down for Kwame Nkrumah to pen down. Say, CPP says they want to be a third force. And they're already being disruptive. And this is not the first time. You remember Niyama Konfra? You remember Asani? You remember James Kwabena Bonfe? Now it's Nana Yajanto. I can give you a list. This is Nkrumah's own party. When they were in power, we were building for people to come and buy. Now we have become a laughing stock. I played a video for you the other time where we had become a very good example of everything that is bad in Kenya. How much we had borrowed. Find me Ken Oforiata's video. That day, I remember when Mr. Oforiata came here, he came here in his white. He came on a motorbike on the back of an Okada. I remember very well. If you ask Rodogbe, he will tell you. He came here on the back of a motorbike. He was sweating. He had a home brush. He said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. We're in the old New Day studio. Mr. Oforiata's video. He came on the back of a motorbike. Today, even when sometimes the budget is being discussed, his own budget is being discussed, it takes time before he appears in Parliament. But they say that the amount that you used to go and borrow is not the same that you used to pay. Start a video for me. Listen to it. We'll play a bit of it. Play. Listen.
Moves from 9 billion cedis worth of debt that we leave them in 2008. And by 2012, they are at 36 billion. And then by this year, they are at 105 billion. How could there not be a message?
You talk about different economies.
You create
the economy of 9 billion, the economy of...
no, I'm talking about the debt that they incurred.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they mentioned the economy of the 9 billion. Said, that was a small economy. Now it's a huge one.
No,
and so they're taking more loans.
25% of debt to GDP. And now we are talking about 72% of debt to GDP.
I see.
So you have basically no fiscal space to do anything, and that's because you think you can borrow your way out of debt, which is not possible. And therefore, the ideas of entrepreneurial creativity and really supporting businesses, not killing them with energy prices, inflation, devaluing currency. Those are the things that go to give economic freedom for people to operate. And I believe it is that we can bring back.
The currency's stability for these years, notwithstanding, you think it's a currency that's not doing well?
Well, the currency has not done well.
You have quite stable some few
It's been, yeah, I mean, these few months it has been quite stable, but you have moved from 1.2 to 4, unless you want to forget it, but that's real. You know, you can't brush it under the carpet. You have to accept that you came and met something, and this is what you have done to it.
So, you see, Mr. Kenofreta, this was when talk was cheap. And I've just been informed that it was Mr. James Jachi Kwasin, the man who renounced his Canadian citizenship to come here to serve his motherland, who was not present, but he's gone back to the Canada for some personal reasons. So he was the MP who was not present. But you saw what Mr. Kenofreta said. The things that he said then are all now playing out. The levels of debt and the inflation and all those things, that the metrics he was using have not changed. They have actually quadrupled. Why is he not speaking with the same tone and telling us that you came to meet something and that this is what you have done to it and you must accept? Has the government so far accepted their portion of the blame? They only say, oh, where we find ourselves, where we have gotten to, where we find ourselves, COVID, Russia, Ukraine, NDC, Hamas, Israel, they blame everybody but themselves. Has the government accepted that we said we had the men, these are the men we brought forward, this was what we inherited, and this is how much we have borrowed to dig us all into a hole. This is what we met. And this is how much, because we have borrowed, we have to give old people a haircut that they did not ask for, even though we promised them that there will be no haircuts. That persons living with disability will be starved for 2 years after somebody unilaterally cancelled road tolls, which was supposed to be a revenue line for 2022. The acceptance. He was asking somebody to accept, and they did accept. Has he been able to accept? Where is Dr. Bawumia? He's hiding. He can't talk about the economy. But he's the head of the economic management team. When Addo failed to meet students, he said that he was using Dr. Bawumia's brain to govern. And so the students now have become the pressmen who are going to get press briefing. The last time Addo met journalists was in 2019. He has failed to meet press people again. But he will be the same people to come and say, oh, I believe in press freedom and I like a boisterous press, blah, 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 blah. He has failed to meet the press. In fact, in 2020, COVID was used as an example. 2021, 2022, 2023 is ending. He has not met the press. And if he has not met the press, how would we know what is happening? How would we know, for example, that Al Jazeera has written a reply in the gold mafia saga that we wrote to Al Jazeera? And they threatened Al Jazeera. But they're keeping the result. If he meets the press, we will ask him those questions. Let me give you a teaser for Monday. Put the letter up for me. That's our last thing for today. ICO. It's up there. This is to Honorable Dr. Benedict Bonaventure Aligibem. Okay. So this is it. Now, it's dated the 17th of July 2020. Remember that yesterday I read a letter for you that says there will be no post-retirement contracts. Appointment to the post of Managing Director, ICO Limited. Following your nomination by the President, dated 31st May 2019, for appointment as the Managing Director of ICO, and the recommendation for the Public Service Commission after your interview on the 28th of May 2020, the Board of Directors accepts your nomination and duly appoints you as the Managing Director for ICO Limited, effective 31st May 2019. You will be entitled salary range of blah 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 63,000. Yeah, is there big money, all of that. You also be entitled to all the approved category 4 allowances for categories A and B, public service office holders, accommodation, transport, fuel, house help, garden boy, security, utilities, telephone, clothing, and entertainment. All of your other service conditions are contained in ICO Senior Staff Conditions of Service. Blah, blah, blah. Sign there. Just keep this letter in your mind. Monday, we will get proper to it. Just keep this letter in your mind. And I showed you the league table. ICO is around number 50-something on the league table of state-owned enterprises. Monday, we will get deeper into this. Have a good morning.
PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal le Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.